Primary elections right around the corner in Oklahoma. Election day, June 16th. And the next person to lead Oklahoma schools will inherit a position that's drawn national attention. Plenty of controversy, too.
That's for sure. And now Republican candidates for state superintendent are sharing how their leadership style would differ and what message they have for Oklahoma teachers.
KOCO's Kylie Thomas sat down with the Republican candidates.
The role of state superintendent has become one of the most visible and controversial jobs in Oklahoma. The next person elected will take over a role that's faced years of public scrutiny and political tension. For many of the candidates, that starts with rebuilding trust with teachers and school leaders.
I'm not a publicity seeker. That's not my style.
I think my number one goal is to not be on the top fold of any major newspaper.
Oh, that would be polar opposites. I don't need any additional acclaims.
I want to be seen as someone who rolls up their sleeves and goes to work. There will be times that I will be highly visible, but it will be more to say what great things we're doing in public schools.
So we need to get back to education.
If the State Department is doing their job well, they really should blend into the background.
While many of the candidates say they would do the job differently, they acknowledge rebuilding relationships with teachers may be one of their biggest challenges. I asked what their message is to Oklahoma teachers. Representative Tony Hassenbeck says her experience in the classroom helps her understand the challenges teachers face and asks they give her a call before raising judgment.
I want teachers to not get mad at me till they talk to me. That's what I've always told all of my constituents. It's if you hear something or you see something or somebody tells you about a bill, call me first and let's talk about it, because sometimes we read things with negative eyes instead of positive eyes.
Dr. Robert Franklin wants to strengthen the teacher pipeline. He says teachers have too often been blamed for Oklahoma's education challenges. His message, don't give up.
We've not had a seasoned, tested educational leader in that role in over 35 years. Our outcomes have continued to slide. I think it's time for a change. So my message to teachers is, don't listen to me, don't trust me. Let's just collaborate, lock arms, and begin to push forward and start digging our way out.
Candidate Deborah Herlihy says helping Oklahoma teachers starts with increasing pay, including offering some of her own salary and merit pay.
And I want to take half of my salary and apply that to teachers and apply that to special education teachers as well, because we need to establish good quality teachers right now, and we need to get them focused and we need to get them stay.
Rural Superintendent Dr. John Cox says supporting Oklahoma educators starts at the top. He believes the next state superintendent should focus less on criticizing teachers and more on championing their work in the classroom.
We need to empower them, we need to put trust back in them again, and we need to honor them. And so respect is the biggest thing. You know, the majority of teachers, like in every profession, the majority of teachers that we have are great people. They have a servant's heart, and it's my job to go out and really promote what they do.
Candidate Dr. James Taylor says he would be a supportive state superintendent with a special focus on helping new teachers succeed by offering guidance.
We do a grave disservice to our first-year teachers by basically throwing them to the wolves. And while they may know their subject matter, they need some help with classroom management so that they know how this stuff is going to be done.
Senator Adam Pugh's message to teachers is one of gratitude. He says he's made a point of visiting schools across the state to hear their perspectives firsthand.
I've spent probably more time in schools in the last 10 years, maybe than any legislator at the Capitol. Every Friday, inside a school, inside a classroom, not just in my district, really traveling around the state. And I did that just because I wanted to learn. I wanted to hear the perspective of the teacher and see what was happening. And also, I think I value the fact that schools are different around the state.
Candidate William Crozier of Union City did not respond to KOCO's request for an interview. This is Crozier's third run for state superintendent after campaigns in 2006 and 2022. Across the candidates, policy ideas differ, but each believe the first step is regaining the trust of Oklahoma teachers. Voters will decide which direction they want to take in the primary June 16th. The winner advances to the November ballot against the winner on the Democratic ballot. You can hear from those candidates on KOCO.com. Reporting, Kylie Thomas, KOCO 5 News.